This week on the show, we are joined by the lead singer and guitar player from Big Sugar. Welcome back to the Rockman Power Hour, a podcast where we talk to the most interesting people in the world of pop culture and everything in between. My co-host Ryan Stick is by my side, my faithful companion, and on this rock and roll journey with me this week because we're chatting with Gordie Johnson from the band Big Sugar.
Yeah, Big Sugar, awesome song, man. Like in sound, you're telling me something really interesting last week. Like even Jack White's like, dude, this is the band, and I want to re-release one of their albums on his own label. Like that's how posers like me find out these things.
so Gordie Johnson and Big Sugar have been kind of like staples in the Canadian rock scene. Being someone who worked, being someone who was really active in music in the 90s, they were like inescapable on Much Music, on Music Plus, at radio. They really popped, and they never really went away. They've always been working. But what's great about Gordie is that he's one of those guitar players that's respected by his peers. If you go on their website, there's testimonials from like Billy Gibbons, there's from ZZ Top, there's testimonials from, Warren Haynes from Government Mule, Joe Satriani, Jack White, like everybody loves him. So when you're seeing that kind of praise, all right, this guy is one of those, he's like a guitar god level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those guys, like he's respected by his peers. So it's cool to see. I'm excited to have gotten to talk with him because I've always really liked Big Sugar. I've really respected them. And the guy's just like a monster guitar player, but he's also a really good producer, and he's worked with a lot of really, really cool bands. So he's very, very unassuming, very down to earth. You'll see when you chat with him, when you watch the chat or listen to the chat, he's very cool. And he's doing this week, they're actually doing a string of shows across Quebec. They're calling it an evening with Big Sugar. So they're going to be doing full albums sets and then coming back for like greatest hit sets. So Big Sugar fans will love that. And they're playing all these small little places in Quebec. So it's a great chance if you're in Quebec to see Big Sugar up close and personal. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I like smaller shows. Like I know it's probably up to a promoter or a band's detriment sometimes, like, oh, smaller shows. But I'm like, fuck, one of my favorite concerts I ever saw was The Living End at Le Tulip. And I don't think it was advertised well enough, but there was only a handful of us in there, but we got the show of our lives.
Yeah.
And then, I saw the same band play something like the Metropolis, and I'm just kind of like, I'm here too, guys. Don't forget about me.
It's, it's funny. Jane's Addiction, one of the biggest bands that come out in the 90s, Perry Farrell, like so influential. It started Lollapalooza, rock and roll royalty. Jane's Addiction had played in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre, sold out. And then a year later, he comes to Montreal with his new band called Satellite Party that nobody knew, and played at the National. And it was such a shitty turnout that they had to put that big black curtain across half the room to kind of make it more intimate. There was maybe 150 people there. And Perry Farrell had a bottle of Jägermeister, and he was sharing it with people in the crowd from the stage. It was that intimate. And I remember my brother and I went to the show. We were such big Jane's Addiction fans, and we got to talk to him after the show, and it was just freaking rad. So yeah, those small shows you really remember. So if you're someone who likes Big Sugar, I would definitely encourage you to go check out some of the dates, and we'll talk about them after the interview. But we should jump to this right now because this was a fun one. We got to talk to Gordie in his home, and he's an interesting dude, man. I really enjoyed chatting with him. So without any further ado, here is Gordie Johnson from Big Sugar. How you doing, man?
Oh, good now.
I'm happy to talk to you. It feels like I feel like I've kind of known you for a long time because your band was very, very influential to me when I was writing music in the late 90s. Not in the sense that you necessarily influenced me musically, but you were one of those bands that was undeniable in like 96, 97. I remember it. I mean, you guys
Did it make it seem like a good idea?
It did. But I was playing much heavier music. We really, maybe it was the producer we were working with. We were working with this guy, Glenn Robinson, and he was all about tone and what your album, both the albums 500 and obviously Hemi Vision, those two records really came across as albums that were well recorded, that had tone, that had, it had groove. It had something special that a lot of records at that time didn't have.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad you noticed.
I did. So I ended up, and I think you were probably one of the reasons why I used a Green Bullet for a minute too. Green Bullet microphone.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing actually. We didn't
At
hear
all.
that on pop rock and roll recordings at the time. We were about a year ahead of Soundgarden with that one.
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine wasn't out yet. Like that distorted vocal thing. We got it from listening to Little Walter records.
Nice.
Like the old Chess blues records, where every once in a while Little Walter would say something into his harmonica mic, or just say one line into it. And we're like, that is so cool. It
is cool.
But that was like an old blues guy trick. We weren't, it's later it became like Jack White, lots of people were doing the distorted vocal, which is really cool. And I'm not saying we started it, but but
it was something that
we brought it from an earlier era.
It's like when you listen to Stone Temple Pilots, when Scott Weiland sung into the beginning, the beginning of Dead and Bloated, when he's singing into the guitar pickup. It's just little things like that. And I think especially when you're a young musician, you start to go into studios. I mean, it must be a different experience now for musicians because they can just pretty much record on what we're talking on. But that experience when you're young and you first get budget to go into a studio, and then you start talking to these guys that are engineers, and they just leave this impression on you. When you're recording your first demos and you finally get enough money to go in and go, okay, we're going to record on tape, and this is a big deal, and we got to be ready. And whoever's at the controls, they're the coolest people in the world. So I think whatever you're listening to at that point really leaves an impression on you. And when we went in to record this one album at Studio Victor in Montreal, we were listening to Hemi Vision like crazy.
Yeah, Victor was a really good studio.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
So it's nice to see, all these years later, guys like Jack White, who are, throwing all this praise your way, all these other people that are looking back and going, man, that band really, really was something. And I always felt you guys were a little bit ahead of your time when it came to Canada as well. But Canada embraced you at one point hard, man. There was a few years there where you guys were you were everywhere.
Canada's still super solid for us. I got to say, we've had the busiest summer we've had in a decade out there touring. And we've even been on, we're either headlining some big show somewhere in a park, or this year for the first time, we're further down the bill, but on country music festivals.
I've seen that. I saw that. I was like, I saw it on your page. I'm like, they're advertising a show and I'm looking for you guys, and I see you further down, but I'm like, but that's kind of cool because it means you're crossing over.
Well, and we're shocked to discover how many people at that show know our music and are really digging it. But you're also getting in front of some younger people too, who are listening to country, but their version of country is, a little harder than the country I was listening to, when I was that age, when I was 21. Country music meant Hank Williams and Lefty Frizzell,
Yeah, exactly. But it's really cool. I have I have a 21-year-old, 18-year-old, and I love the fact that music is so open now. And when I talk to my kids, they will, one week we'll be going to see Morrissey, and then 2 days later we're going to see the Deftones. So you're everywhere, and it's great. So I imagine when you're on a country festival like that and you're seeing these people that, I wouldn't think Big Sugar and country, but that crossover where there's the blues that kind of holds it together. It must be fun to be able to go out there and do what you guys do so well and know that you're going to win some people over.
I have to be completely honest with you. There's also a bit of flexing going on when we walk out and we're kind of like the only band with actual guitar amps, no in-ear monitors, no auto tune at front of house, no monitors, just hella loud. And people are like, whoa, what, what was that?
Exactly. It's all those things that you're saying, that's what I remember about this band, and especially seeing you live a couple of times, this is a band that's meant to be seen live. As good as the recordings are, when you see you guys live, it's just something that's undeniable. It's musicians. It's real musicians. It's not fabricated. It's something that's, it can't be replicated by AI. It's you guys. And I think that's awesome. What does it feel like to see all these records having these reissues and having these, these special editions come out, and this new fan base latching onto them?
It's really cool for us, actually, because rediscovering songs that, in some cases that were never played live. I know there are a bunch of songs from Hemivision that we didn't play on the Hemivision tour. Like, we had lots of songs to play, so you didn't play an entire album every night. And there are just some songs that don't make it onto the set list. And, years go by and you realize, oh, you know what? Like, on tour, we never played whatever, name a song.
Yeah.
But now with the band as a 3-piece, I got guys generations younger than me who are really into those records.
Yeah.
And we're like, they don't have a bias because they weren't in the band in 96. So they're like, oh, hey, can we do Tobacco Hand? And I'll be like, yeah, we can do Tobacco. Wow, I've never done Tobacco Hand. Like, what? Right. You've never done it? Well, I did it once. That day we did it. And then it wasn't done after that. So, it's really cool for me to rediscover some of these things. We did a show with Jack White recently, and I kind of, not the whole set list, but he sort of just put in I said, okay, requests. And he requested like 5 Big Sugar songs, which I put immediately on the set list. I'm like, Jack wants to hear them, I'm going to play them.
Yeah.
Some of them we've never played before, but let's do them.
He's a special dude, man, because he has there's a great appreciation for music when it comes to him and the craft and all of it. I was in France with my wife in February, and he did like 3 nights in Paris, and we managed to find our way into the last night, and he was playing like a 700 seater, but he just wanted to do 3 nights there. And the last time I'd seen him was in Montreal at Place Belle, completely sold out, maybe 9,000 people. So it was such a treat to see him in such a small place, but there's something special about that guy when he goes out and plays. Like, he's not just playing music. His body is like, he's giving the whole thing to you. And
it's
an
definitely a
experience.
one night only kind of thing. I noticed on tour with them, they aren't using a set list.
Yeah.
He's just, the band can, first of all, those dudes have to have an encyclopedic knowledge of everything Jack's ever done, because he'll pull stuff out from solo acoustic performances that were only like recorded on YouTube. They were never on a record, but Jack's that's still part of his music story, so it's really cool watching him just sort of weave magic through the course of the evening. There was actually at no point was there silence between songs.
Sure, true.
It was
very true.
The songs just went from one giant snowball of feedback and noise, and then another one would get going.
And it's there's and in a world where if you're seeing a band that's on tour, you're maybe going to setlist whatever to see, okay, let's see what they're going to play and when they're going to play that. And there's none of that with him. There's no lighting cues. There's no on stage banter. He's not saying the same thing he said last night. It's like but I guess in a way, coming from the blues, you can relate to that, because that's a big part of being able to, sit and just jam something and have something spontaneously come to you as well.
Yeah. Even with Big Sugar, even though we're playing songs, the guys will know in advance, I also have a pretty deep catalog, and I'm not out there to try and trick my guys, but I put challenges in front of them every night. Even a song we might play every night on a run of a tour, then there'll be that one night when it goes into something different. You better have been paying attention, because I won't necessarily tell you that that's happening.
I worked as a radio host at Shom for about 14 years. So Shom, obviously, as you know, huge supporter. Being a Montrealer, we play. As they say in the industry, we would bang the shit out of your stuff, and they still do play a lot of Big Sugar. And I think the power of radio still speaks to to what difference it can make for a band in a market. And, talk to bands even now, bands that have followings that are, very organic to the web, organic to maybe TikTok. They say when they have that crossover radio hit, it just opens the world up to them. Especially, in each market. Do you find still that when you go to markets that you had love at radio, you see the difference? You can see those little pockets of enthusiasm?
Well, no, I don't suppose I notice it so much now. I mean, we've been around long enough.
For sure.
Played enough places. At some point in the last 3 decades, Big Sugar got played on the radio in your town. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, for sure. But there were some towns, like there were some places, like I know Montreal for you. There and Music Plus, like really there's a lot of, I think a lot of people's eyes were opened up to this band through that. And
videos,
and I think
especially. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, the video, and you guys had good videos too. Like there's a certain, especially on Hemi Vision, those videos were very, very, you remember all that stuff.
Hopefully the videos have to have some bit of, to me, they have to have a bit of humor to them. I've never been a fan of like, a police lineup of stern looking dudes, like trying to stare down the camera. I was like, come on, dude, you're in a rock and roll band. It's a pretty good job. Like,
yeah, exactly. Have a bit of fun, smile.
It looks like you're having fun. It's okay.
It's true.
It's okay.
It's and I think that's what I always loved about the Foo Fighters. When they approached their videos, they had so much fun with them.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, that's a good example.
So you guys are doing these dates in Quebec, and it's labeled as an evening with. So what would people expect when they come to that versus just a regular Big Sugar show?
Well, one thing we've been doing with all the reissues that have come out, especially with the Third Man Records, Jack White reissuing 500 Pounds. It's a record we recorded in 1993.
Yeah.
So to celebrate that, we've been going out and doing 2 sets. It's an evening with, and we don't have an opening act. So we go out and do all of 500 Pounds and songs that we played in that era that we haven't done on tour. There's a couple of other cover songs or whatever jams that we used to go into. Actually, I had to look a bunch of this stuff and like shake the cobwebs off. Go, oh yeah, we did go into a Police song in the middle of that.
Love it.
So we've been doing a whole night of 500, the whole set of 500 Pounds, and then the second set of stuff from all the other records to, just round out the evening. And it's interesting what with that 2-set approach, you really can present different flavors of the band quite effectively. It's been a really, really interesting way of doing it. And a few nights we've done a Hemi Vision first set, because that record also came out on vinyl over COVID. And so we did really get a chance to go out and do it. So we've done a couple nights of Hemi Vision only sets.
Oh, really? So you're cool. From front to back?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I love that. So I think it's great. A lot of people, you've obviously already said that, you don't mind going and playing songs you haven't played, but a lot of people love that all album experience because, when you really were into a record, you'd listen to the whole thing. And especially in the era of CDs and cassettes and stuff, especially CDs. I mean, CDs, it was just one straight blast through, no flipping sides. So a lot of bands that have, 25, 30-year anniversaries of records are doing that. And I'm glad to see that you're open to that, because to me, the idea of going to see either of those records from start to finish would be fucking awesome.
It is pretty awesome for us too. It's exciting. Like, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
To limit it to just that record. There's a sounds, like in the case of 500 Pounds, I had to bring different instruments for each set.
Right.
So I have different guitars for the 500 Pound set versus, what happened after. I was playing different guitars in those days, so there's a little steel guitar in there. There's big jazz guitars, it's just a different sonic landscape.
Now I know you do a lot of producing, and it seems to me you probably spend quite a bit of time in the studio.
I was there earlier today.
I was going to say, when it comes to producing, is it fun for you to be able to see a band and see yourself maybe in them, you know, being that band that comes in and they've got their music and it's very precious to them, and having to have this outside person come in and give feedback? Can you kind of see what it was like maybe for the producers that you worked with when you were that person that was coming in with your songs?
I didn't get to have that experience so much. You know, very early on, we produced our own stuff.
Right.
Because I found very quickly that other guys coming in from outside just didn't have the understanding. I guess because they were rock and roll producers, they were coming at it with, to me, what was a very limited view of what we were capable of. You know, we worked with a guy who worked with Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and just amazing bands, all my favorite bands. And the producer came in, absolutely loved this guy, loved everything he ever did. And the first day on the job, he sort of went, "Oh, no, that bass part is all wrong. Like, it's a reggae bass part." He'd never listened to reggae. Well, reggae wasn't his thing.
Wow.
Well, you don't get Big Sugar then, because
of course,
half our band's from Jamaica. We're a downtown Toronto band at that time, and that's reggae is just part of the regular everyday speak. Like, so for us to eliminate that so that we would have more success at rock, it was like, you misunderstood. Like, we weren't here to have success. We were here to make music. If it's any good, success will follow, but we're not shifting and changing due to what's popular. You know what I mean? We had guys coming in who were like, even record company guys who, you know, had a cool appreciation of music. Maybe they listened to, you know, whatever was happening, punk rock at the time, Spaceman 3 or John Spencer Blues Explosion. They had all this indie punk rock kind of thing. Like, hey, you guys could fit right in with that.
Yeah.
If you just wouldn't do this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, but then
that's not you.
Then we're not us.
Yeah.
No, there are going to be dub rewinds, and we're going to go into some reggae thing in the middle of the thing, because that's what we do. So what was that about this punk rock thing again? Because I missed you there. You know what I mean? It's like, I like that stuff too, but that's not all that we do.
Right.
So, you know, if I say the name Sonny Rollins or Tony Williams, or, you know, if I name some of my favorite jazz musicians and they just kind of draw a blank, I'm like, okay, it's going to be a long day. If you can't name me your top 4 reggae drummers, if you don't have an opinion on that, I can't.
Right.
I don't think we're having this conversation, you know. So I produced stuff for myself early on, but with bands, you know, I don't really want to impose my taste in music on some other artist. But what I try to do is really just as a fan, I have to be a fan of what someone's doing first.
Right.
And then I approach it like a fan, but an informed fan. Like, I know what's really cool about you guys, and I know how to make it a lot cooler.
Right.
How to really put magnifying glass on the stuff that's really cool about you, and get rid of the stuff that frankly isn't doing you any favors. And that usually ends up being the same thing for every band. It's a band trying to chase sounding like something that's popular at that moment.
Right.
Trying to sound too much like their heroes to a fault. Like, we don't need to get Jimmy Page's guitar sound. We don't need to get Stone Gossard's guitar sound. We don't need to, like, that. That's pointless.
Yeah.
Pointless. Oh, I know to get the Slash guitar sound. Whoop-de-doo. Great.
Yeah.
That's nice for you. Call me when you're done fooling around in the corner over there. Come on, like, we got work to do. You sound cool. Let's make your guitar sound. And you'd be surprised that's rubbed a lot of guys to where, you know, that I'm not the producer for them.
Right.
Because I'm not going to do that for you. I'm not going to dial in great drum sounds. I'm going to dial in the drum sound that's appropriate for what we're trying to say. Maybe the drums aren't the coolest thing about this record.
Right.
You know, maybe that's not what we should be doing, is spending half a day getting a bass drum sound. Yeah, because sometimes that is important.
Sure,
sometimes
of course.
That does make something more awesome. But there are times when that's not the most important thing. And guys get hung up. It's so easy with technology now to twist the mouse around and work your Pro Tools until you can make any sound that's ever been made.
Yeah.
But that's not what's appropriate, and that's not the task at hand. I don't mind using. I used to be an only analog guy. Like I only work in analog, you know.
Yeah.
But I discovered the convenience of digital is only convenient to me because I know what I need it to sound like.
Yeah.
I know what that imitation 1176 compressor, that's nice cartoon graphic they have, of just, oh, it's so realistic. Oh, and it really sounds like a real one. Well, it does if you know
what a real one sounds like.
Supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you can go through presets of like, oh, this isn't awesome. This is how to get the when the levee breaks sound. It's like, yeah, so what? I can listen to when the levee breaks. Are you going to do something better than when the levee breaks? I bet you're not. I mean, I have faith in you as an artist, and I think your song is great and it'll last the test of time. Not if we do this.
But it's great that you're able to approach it from that angle of being the musician in the studio that was very self-assured, knew what you wanted, knew instantly if someone was going to fit with what was going on, and then being able to bring that to an artist and give them that confidence.
It has not put me out of work, but it definitely streamlines who I work with. You know what I mean? Because I'm not desperate. Like I don't need to pay my house rent with producing gigs. I only work on stuff in the studio for people who I dig, who have a clear vision of what they are and appreciate having, like I said, a magnifying glass put on them, because some people are trying to hide behind the production. They need a producer to hide them and not expose them so much. But I'm really not interested in working with anyone like that. You know, I think all the artists I have worked with, from baby bands to classic experienced people, I approach it the same way. You know, someone like Warren Haynes and Government Mule, I've worked with them in the studio dozens of times. Billy Gibbons worked in the studio with him. Jimmy Vaughn worked in the studio. Jimmy Vaughn's not interested in sounding like anything but Jimmy Vaughn. Like, oh, we got this really cool amp. You should try this amp. He's like, well, that's not me. Like, you know, you're right. It's not. You give it. That's the only thing it needs to sound like. We're not reinventing Jimmy Vaughn. He's Jimmy Vaughn. Billy Gibbons. Every guitar Gibbons picks up sounds like Billy Gibbons.
Sure.
Let him.
Billy Gibbons
played it. Yeah. It's not that hard. It's like, oh my God, look at this. Listen to that. Oh, the tone you got on Gibbons. Like the tone I got. Well, me? I didn't get that tone. I didn't get that tone for Warren Haynes. He woke up with that tone. All I did was keep everything out of the way.
Yes.
That guitar tone.
It's funny because, you know, I remember, I don't know how your knowledge is for metal, but so Fear Factory, you've heard of the band Fear Factory, right?
Yeah.
So Dino from Fear Factory, I remember he came and we were doing a cover of Seal's Crazy, and we wanted to get him to do the guitar parts on it. And he came in and he did it. And exactly what you said, he just plugged in, but his sound from the way he plays was so aggressive. It was just, you knew it was him. So for somebody to say, you know, like there is a signature sound from people that just by the way they play, by the way they attack their instrument, it's crazy. And you'd never think that, because you'd figure, well, anyone could get that if they have the same guitar in their hand, but no, they can't. It's nuts.
Yeah. And it's up to, I mean, everybody has a signature sound if they only realized it, if they stop monkeying around with, like, if I only own this pedal, if I only own that pedal. I mean, I buy guitar pedals too, but they're only there to serve a purpose. You have to have that sound in your head to begin with.
For sure.
You know, is this removing a barrier between me and a sound, or is it creating a barrier between me and a sound? You know what I mean? Are you hiding behind that fuzz pedal, or is that fuzz pedal liberating something you wanted to say? It's an important thing to consider when buying any piece of musical gear, I
think. Obviously, you know, these dates are about celebrating the past, but I imagine you're a forward motion kind of guy too.
I was in the studio today working on a Big Sugar record. We had such a crazy summer of touring that I've really only been able to do it in little fits and starts. And, so I'm kind of done with the summer. I'm home for a month.
Yeah. So now you're going to work on a little bit of Big Sugar music.
I hopefully, as long as, the pump in the well house keeps working and the water softener keeps working and I can get my mower fixed and, get a kid with air conditioning that doesn't work in their car, it's
all the other stuff that gets in the way of like, somebody's back. Oh, we got it. No, listen, there's one of my really good friends is in Mastodon, and we were talking the other day and he was saying how, like, I have a couple of days off, and when the bus came into Atlanta, when I had my days off about a year ago, like, my father-in-law was there waiting for me to pick me up with tools in the car, because we had to go to one of my renters' places to fix the roof. Like, I was home for 2 days and I had to take care of my rental properties and all that. And he goes, like, and then I got to rent, and then I got to go downstairs and I got to mail out, sign posters and stuff that people have bought from the store. So I get it. It's never just, I'm going to go home and, go to the Bahamas for a couple of weeks. Like, fuck no.
Well, I imagine there, some people might think I walk around in my pajama pants with a double neck on my shoulder. It's like, if I could just get one of those things out of the case, out of storage, that would be awesome. I'd love to play a double neck, but I really only see it on the job site. It's like my guy hands it to me. I'm like,
oh shit.
Oh, wait, I've got a black one, like, man. Yeah.
Well,
I remember back in the day, I used to do a lot of work with Hugo Boss. So we would go to events and be rock stars in a fashion show,
Sure.
Super fun. Highly recommend it. And we stayed out, after the fashion show, we'd stayed out all night drinking champagne and got to bed at about, 5:45. Fashion industry was crazy in the 90s. People had a really good time.
Sure.
I can remember doing one of these events in Calgary and got into bed, and about an hour later, like 7:30 in the morning, my father-in-law showed up with a big dually farm truck with coveralls, like snow coveralls, and insulated work boots and gloves, because we had to go load a liner full of cattle and take them to auction. It was 38 below zero. And I'd had an hour of sleep and a champagne headache like you can't even understand. Big Bill don't want to hear no complaining.
Yeah.
You're going to get a hockey stick and push cattle into a truck. And I did that until sundown.
Wow.
I felt very alive.
Listen, you can't appreciate the good things if you don't have the real things. I believe that, and I think that's what keeps you humble, and that's what keeps you honest. And I think if you're a hard worker, you're a hard worker all the time, no matter what. And anyone that thinks that's any otherwise, anyone that has any kind of success gets that. You have to have the balance, and I love those things. I find they keep you so humble. It's the best.
The most successful people I know are also the hardest working. I mean, we've been talking about Jack, and I've had a chance to hang out with him a little bit this year, and I can hardly imagine what it's like living with that brain. Like, this guy is always inventing, creating, designing, building, recording, writing something, always 100% of every waking moment. Like, there's a reason why he's so prolific.
100%. And a lot of musicians are going to owe him a huge debt for what he's doing for music, not only just as a performer, but just on the back end with Third Man and those pressing plants and just all the opportunities he's giving artists. So I love it. I think it's great. But I think you're a perfect addition to that camp, because you make sense. And I'm sure he didn't pick to reissue that record by any mistake. I'm sure he was like, oh yeah, this is a real one.
His older brothers had it on cassette.
I love it.
And so, like, teenager Jack White was listening to his brother's cassette, and they wore the cassette out. And it was his older brother who actually said, hey, what was that band we used to listen to? I found the cassette, but it's got no more, the cover is gone. There's no ink left on it. I'll listen to it all the time, but who were those guys? Do you remember? And Jack's like, oh yeah, I remember. Me and Meg used to go see you all the time. I'm like, all the time?
They would just probably cross over the bridge because they could drink younger.
We used to play Detroit all the time.
Right. Yeah, because it's so close, for sure.
they were underage and they came to see us play at a big parking lot show in Pontiac, Michigan. Just times like that. He'd been to see, I don't know, maybe half a dozen Big Sugar shows. So
I love it.
The first time I met him, he definitely had an opinion on on Big Sugar. I was like, okay, far out.
So new music's obviously coming when you get a chance.
Yeah.
And these shows are coming up in October. And if people want to get more information, bigsugar.com.
Bigsugar.com. We'll try to get everything up to date all the time, show posters, ticket links. And I, like I said, I've been working on a new record, so I know things people don't know that are coming.
Yeah.
It's going to be another really good year for Big Sugar. So pay attention.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for taking the time to chat. I'm glad we were able to do this, and continued success, Matt. I hope you have to stuff any cattle in anytime soon.
I'm sure that some other farm emergency will present itself, but in the meantime.
That was a good one, buddy.
Yeah, it was fun. There was a string of these last few ones that I've done because I think I recorded a lot of them where you were I think you were with your dad, or you might have been incapacitated for a bit.
Yeah.
You had a little bit of you had some stuff going on. So I know I was doing a couple of solos, but
I want to say this publicly. So I remember, like, the older and weaker I get, I got to remember, like, I was cool once and like driven. Yeah. I was like, it was like 3 times where my stomach in the middle of the night just attacked itself. And just the first time I was like 7 hours, but powered through, had to take care of things. The second night I was like, oh man, even called the paramedics. I'm like, and then as soon as they got there, started to feel better. I'm like, don't want to wait the 9 hours. Then the third time I knew we were going to Ottawa in a few days. I'm like, fuck it, take it, plug me in, make me into Weapon X, put all the wires in. Let's figure this out, because I don't want this shit happening in Ontario. Yeah. Then go get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, leave there at noon, go to get home, do 2 things, go to sleep, wake up, get in a car, and go to Ottawa Comic Con. And I want to remember that this isn't for you folks or the listeners. When I listen back as I get older, lazier, and less Rockman-ish about my day-to-day ambitions, I got to remember that I let nothing stop me from doing Ottawa Comic Con, and it turned out good.
Yeah, you worked. You showed up, and this weekend, if you're listening, we'll be in Quebec City at the Centre de Congrès for Quebec Comic Con. Which I got to say, every show has its little things about it that we like more. Like not like more. That's a bad way to say it, because I like all the shows, but there's certain things about certain shows that are like Montreal's fun because it's in our hometown. We can sleep in our own bed, and it's the big show. Ottawa is fun because it's in the EY Center. It's, everyone, the staff of the EY Center are incredible. The food at the EY Center is great. Yeah. It feels like it's all on one level. It's very easy to navigate, and we're all in our own little bubble. Like EY Center is just kind of this little place it's a big place, but it's like this place that's kind of, we're all like in this little area.
I think it's the Comic-Con where everyone hangs out with each other the most,
probably,
because there's literally no choice not to, and that's kind of nice. It's the bonding one, I would say.
But for me, Quebec Comic Con has always been the one where I am the most social, because I don't have as much to do as necessarily at the other ones, because there's not as many guests, there's not as many interviews and panels. And it's the place that I love walking around and spending time in, because Quebec, going out for dinner, walking around, like I love Quebec City.
Yeah, but we can't forget, like, you are the spokesperson of the show. It is up to you to be there first when it comes to any interviews and press day. And I cannot stress and not make you forget that last year when we went to Quebec City, we saw a show the night before that went until about midnight. Yeah. And we drove to Quebec City after that and got to Quebec about 3:30 in the morning, and you were up at 6 a.m. to do all those radio interviews and all that press.
But it was Sepultura.
Yeah, and it was their last show.
It was their last tour, and I got Derek said I could come up and drum with them.
Yep.
So I'm like, I'm gonna do that. Like, fuck.
And drum you did.
Drum I did. Where did I drum?
The fucking thing that sucked is when we were driving up, we're like, yeah, let's just get coffee on the road, and every fucking place was closed. Every McDonald's, every other place that you're like, oh yeah, it's open 24/7. Well, not this time.
I remember that.
I thought that was pretty funny.
But we still made it, and it was fine. Yeah. But remember the other time when we went to Niagara, Comic Con,
Also a Sepultura show.
Also a Sepultura show that we went to. And then after that, we went to that was fun. So yeah. So all these times where you're like, oh, I see your life and you don't know what you're doing. You do lots of fun stuff.
No, I do tons of fun stuff.
The adventures are aplenty.
Like, I know I'm like being I'm being resuscitated every day, but there you are, just like
the Rockman and Ryan show will continue. Don't worry.
Yeah. If you could carry me around like Grogu or the baby in The Hangover, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
If you could do all the legwork, that'd be great.
I gotta carry you around like Coconut. I don't know where she is, my new dog.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with your dog. I was having such a bad week the other week, and you brought over the dog when we were recording, and it's just like,
she's the best. Just to let you know, if you're at Ottawa Comic-Con, if you're at Quebec Comic-Con this weekend, you look for this on the shirts. This is Ghoulish Gary. He designed a shirt for us, which is going to be awesome. And we're going to have some at Winnipeg Comic-Con too with the beer collab and everything. But I'm so excited about this Ghoulish Gary collabs that we're doing. I mean,
the color of orange is mouth-watering. As a 10-month-a-year Halloween enthusiast.
Yeah, it's pretty special. All right, well, let's thank everybody for joining us. Thank our producer Julie Kajerski. Thanks to my co-host Ryan Stick, and we'll see you next week on the show. I believe our guest next week is I'm not sure.
It's a mystery, Jason.
It's a mystery. Yeah. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and you can also like and subscribe here on YouTube or wherever you are listening to your audio or your video. And thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Rockman Power Hour. Hey, thanks so much for watching the podcast. We really appreciate your support. And if you're enjoying the podcast, click this link right over here to watch the next episode and click right over here and subscribe. And that way you won't miss anything.